one of those incidents. Up until now, it had just been a guess, but now she knows for sure. Sion hadn't realized the dragons were tied to the association in the first place. He chuckles and asks what she plans to do with that knowledge. She responds quietly, saying she won't be alive much longer. Even though he helped her before, she's convinced her body's already beyond fixing. If she's lucky, the best case scenario is 3 years left to live, all thanks to his help. He doesn't accept that and asks how she can be so calm about dying. He doesn't understand why she isn't reacting or breaking down. She smiles faintly, saying she wishes she was capable of feeling something, anything at all. That irritates him. Getting up, he tells her it's not his problem, and she should go back to where she came from. He walks away, saying he's not interested in being dragged into another mess. They part without another word. Kairam shows up beside him, asking if he's really just going to leave her behind like that. He figures that's the best move. He's already sensed the Garam Association lying in wait nearby. Right on cue, a squad of guards in all-white uniforms appears and surrounds Lunav. She watches them close in and mutters that she thought she'd done a better job escaping, saying they showed up way too early. The guards order her to return with them, telling her that her grandfather is looking for her. She narrows her eyes at them, guard rising as suspicion creeps in. Something feels off. She points out that it's always Victor who comes to pick her up, not a bunch of unfamiliar guards. They explain that he's caught up with something important, so they've come to take his place today. That response confirms her doubts. She's never known anyone named Victor in her life, let alone from Garam. Without hesitation, she unleashes a gust of wind, using the brief distraction to bolt away. She manages to break free from their grasp and slip out of sight, but a hand touches her shoulder, and just like that, she collapses unconscious. Her escape fails. The abduction has worked. One of them gives the order to carry her to the carriage and move out. Meanwhile, Karam glances at Sion and quietly mentions she's picking up signs of fighting nearby, clearly referring to those fake guards. He tenses slightly, now genuinely concerned they might not be affiliated with the Garam Association after all. The group brings the unconscious girl to an abandoned chapel hidden in the outskirts. Once they arrive, one of them notifies their teacher that the mission was a success. She assures them with eerie calm that the girl will serve a greater purpose. While the kidnappers hang around just outside the church, lazily keeping watch, something unnatural starts to creep in. Thick black fog rolls over the area, and before they can react, blades slice through the mist. Screams erupt from the guards as they're cut down in seconds. The whales reach inside the chapel, and the teacher calls out, ordering Ralph to go out and eliminate whoever's responsible. Outside, Kyan stands alone, surrounded by corpses, barely winded from the massacre. He knows that wasn't the main threat. The one he's really here for is still inside. Ralph storms out of the church and lunges at him, striking without a word. Sion immediately senses that the man shares the same chaotic energy as Lunav, though far more unstable. Minutes later, the fight ends with Ralph collapsed in the dirt, fully defeated. Lema arrives and freezes, clearly not expecting to find her ally in that state. Sion stares her down and asks if she's the last one left, and what her reason was for taking Lunav. She gives no answer. Instead, she launches straight into a violent barrage, merging fire with thunder in a single burst. Just like Lunav, she's using dual elemental magic. He counters the fire spells with Karam's help, and instantly closes the distance. Lema hurls a blast of wind to shove him back and immediately follows with a lightning strike, but the sword spirit materializes behind her mid-cast, interrupting the attack before it lands. The lightning had force, but her aim was off, leaving him untouched. Sion traps her with his black fog chaining spell, locking her in place so he can interrogate her directly. His first demand, who ordered the kidnapping, and how many more are involved. She breaks into a twisted laugh and tells him they'll come find him soon enough. Her skin begins to deteriorate, rotting as her body starts fading from view. Karam watches the strange decay for a moment, then deduces what's going on. It must be the effect of a heart curb. That's a special artifact that traps mana in the heart, preventing it from circulating. It would also explain Lunav's condition. She's likely under the same effect. Lema raises her brows, startled by how much they seem to know, and demands to know how they figured it out. Cyan, voice low and cruel, tells her she'll get her answer in hell. He drives his hand into her abdomen and tears out a stone pulsing with magic. In his past life, he once discovered an ancient tome locked away inside a Garam research lab. That book detailed everything about the heart curb, how to activate it, control it, and how to destroy it. Karam quietly asks what he plans to do with the artifact now. He tells her to bring Lunav to him. She carefully lays the girl on the ground, preparing for what comes next. Cyan takes the stone in his hand, crushes it, and lets the released mana pour into her chest. If she's been bound by the same artifact as the teacher, this should be enough to shatter it from within. Inside the main building of the Garam Mage Association, Lunav opens her eyes with an odd sensation running through her. Her body feels strangely light, like some invisible burden has been lifted off her shoulders. There's something different. She can channel more energy to Cyan than she ever could before. Across the rooftops, Cyan and Karam stand in silence. She turns toward him and questions what exactly he's planning. He responds plainly that he figured she might still be useful later on. Killing her would have been a waste. She scoffs at that, throwing it back at him. So what now? He's doing charity work? Then she hits him with a pointed question. What happens if she stabs him in the back? Funny, considering it's the same one trying to hijack his body. She waves it off like it's nothing, and he cuts the chat short, saying it's time to move out. There's nothing left for them here. Meanwhile, over in the Garam Kingdom, Rygans is boiling with anger after hearing what she had to say. She admits she remembers nothing after the moment she was snatched and later dropped somewhere near the royal grounds by some unknown figure. She stands by that explanation, but he doesn't look convinced. He tells her the kingdom's already in chaos. People are calling it the Banquet of Blood. She's being careless with her words, and the butler steps in, apologizing. He says he should have gone to find her sooner. Riggins shakes his head. It's not his fault. She just acts on her own whims. He walks closer, claps the man's shoulder, and remarks that things only work because of his granddaughter. Then something shifts. His palm ignites, searing into the man's skin. He glares at him, saying he's known for a long time that the butler was a traitor. Now, he won't let that betrayal slide, not after what happened to her. The man drops to his knees, pleading for his life, insisting it's all a mistake and begging for a second chance. But Riggins shuts that down cold. No more talking. Flames erupt inside his body, consuming him from the core outward until only ashes remain. Lunav just stands there, frozen, shocked. Riggins turns to her and explains that the butler was one of the people who ordered her capture. Then he asks something else. Did she learn anything about Cyan? She lies, saying there's nothing notable about the guy. It's a weak lie and she knows it. He isn't buying it. His eyes narrow, asking what she really means. She tells him she was up late that night to meet Cyan. Their conversation didn't reveal anything special. That was it. He places a hand on her shoulder and says that's exactly the kind of answer he wanted. But then he asks again, what is Cyan hiding? Riggins knows he's one of the Verts. That alone means he's got secrets or backup. With a straight face, she tells him he's just got a bodyguard and a useless maid at his side. Nothing that connects him to anything major. She pushes back, asking why he's so hell-bent on him in the first place. That question strikes a nerve. His mood shifts instantly, annoyed now. He says it confirms it. Cyan's definitely hiding something. Then he cuts off her questioning. She's a Rain Reaver by blood. She doesn't need reasons, just orders. He tells her to leave unless she has anything important to add, and that she's not allowed to step outside for now. She stays put, gaze stuck on the pile of ash where the butler once stood. She's had enough. She's not just family, she's supposed to be a consultant in this house. Back at Lewin Academy, some buff dude's been loitering on top of Cyan's dorm roof for a while. 0 classes, just standing there. Cyan catches sight of him and immediately turns away, not in the mood for whatever that is. As he passes by a few students, he overhears them gossiping. Apparently, classes have been canceled for days and one of the teachers is missing. Then he hears a familiar voice, Erica. She walks up behind him and casually mentions that instructor Nella Aronis has disappeared, and she's got a feeling he's involved. She confronts him directly, asking why he killed her. He looks confused and tells her he's never even met the woman. He doesn't go to his lessons anyway. Nella Aronis had a rep as a powerful mage from Garam. Not unusual for Garam mages to hang around neutral grounds like Lewin, but rumor had it she wasn't a fan of the Rain Reavers. That's why the Mist had eyes on her. Lunov's kidnapping wasn't part of her plan. They were about to make a move, but he handled everything before they could even act. Erica says she's the only one who knows any of this, so he doesn't need to stress. Instead, she hands him a new job. He'll need to lay low outside campus for a bit. He asks who'll take over Nella's spot while she's gone. She tells him the other instructors will rotate for now, but they're already scouting for a new mage. She figures the recruitment flyers are already out. Somewhere in the countryside, Boris is riding with a local farmer. He gazes out at the landscape and compliments the view. The farmer asks what brings him all the way out here. Boris says there's a position he's after. He heard it opened up recently, so he's rushing to apply. The farmer connects the dots quickly. He wants to be the new teacher at Lewin. Back in Cyan's upscale dorm, Emily is sprawled across the couch, practically dying from boredom. Karam isn't thrilled about the overcrowding and tells her to move off her favorite spot. They get into a spat, and she doesn't wait. She forcibly kicks her off the seat. Cyan steps into the room mid-chaos and calls her over. They've got a mission. Emily perks up, begging to go with him. But he tells her she's got a more vital role. Her job, make sure Nana never goes hungry. Ever. At first she's offended. It sounds like the dumbest task imaginable. Then she hears a deep growl from the other side of the room. Nana's already starting to shift. Predator instincts kicking in. Emily panics, shoves a cookie into her mouth, and immediately reassures him she's got this. No problem. Feeding duty secured. He reminds her, don't give Brian any food yet. He's still recovering. She tells him she's already cooked and prepped. They're covered. Karam asks where they're headed. He tells her, Southwest Ushif Empire, Lambaster. Lambaster, a city built on blood, corruption, and coin. The strong rise, the weak vanish. Below its surface lies a massive underground arena, echoing with the roars of a bloodthirsty crowd. Tonight's fight? A no-rules deathmatch between two warriors, Zalbard and Zyber. Their size difference is almost absurd, yet both are locked in, focused, and ready to kill. Zalbard makes the first move. One punch from him craters the floor beneath their feet. Zyber dances around it, movements quick and precise, but not quick enough. Zalbard grabs him midair, fingers closing around his body, and crushes him with one hand. The crowd goes absolutely feral, screaming his name as the victor. Karam and Cyan make their way through the grimy streets of Lambaster. The place reeks of chaos, with drunks passed out in every corner and the air heavy with rot and lawlessness. Even the demon cringes at how gross and unregulated it all is. He explains that unlike Lewin, which maintains neutrality because of formal treaties, Lambaster is a different beast entirely. It's not neutral by diplomacy, it's just completely ungovernable. While they keep walking, a pack of sleazy men steps into their path, eyeing her and trying to flirt like it's going to go somewhere. It's clear now the city's flooded with lowlifes and criminals. They barely get a sentence out before he tells them to back off. Cut to moments later, those same guys are face down in the dirt, groaning, already dealt with. They head into a bar attached to a hotel. He tosses a fat coin pouch onto the counter with a thud, and asks for the best room they've got. The waitress raises a brow, shocked by how young he looks, and casually asks his age. He repeats the order, but this time his voice drops. No more kid energy, just cold authority. He tells her this isn't how you treat customers. That shuts her up. She straightens and gives him a proper welcome to the Lambaster cage. From the window upstairs, he spots a crew of shady-looking men heading off in formation. He knows immediately they're going down to the cage under the hotel. He needs to move fast. The waitress, Lisa, asks if there's anything else she can do. He says he wants access to the cage. She politely refuses. Newcomers aren't allowed. He quickly clocks what's going on. Illegal trades, probably drugs, and she's playing it safe to avoid trouble. He pivots, asking if he's the only new face around lately. What happened to the other guests? That's when he catches the shift in her eyes. Sharp, cold, ready to kill. She apologizes again, hiding behind the excuse that she's just doing her job. He's not buying it. He flicks a handful of gold coins at her. Instinct kicks in. She whips out blades and slices them midair, scattering them across the floor. Even she looks surprised at how fast she reacted, confused that some kid with coins could radiate such intense killing intent. He bends down, picks up a coin, and deadpans that she just ruined him. Then he asks if she just tried to attack him. Lisa scrambles to explain it was a reflex, not an attack, and begs him not to take it the wrong way, but his face hardens. Annoyed now, disgusted, he tells her she has to take responsibility. Backed into a corner, she finally agrees to let him into the cage. She opens a door to the basement and says the staircase will lead him directly to it. She also gives him a VIP token, something reserved for guests in special rooms. If he wears it, it should protect him while he's down there. She still doesn't get why he's so eager to dive into that mess, but warns him to stay out unless he's got more than one life to spare. He ignores her and starts down the stairs. The demon watches him go and asks why he doesn't just order Lisa to drag out the cage's owner, the one who runs the whole underground scene. That's the actual mission. He replies that they don't even know what she looks like. No leads, but they'll have their answers soon. She glances at him suspiciously. He's acting like he knows this place already. He confirms it. He's been here before, in a previous life, back before this whole city went up in flames during the Civil War. She asks just how bad it's going to get. He tells her she'll find out soon enough. The real story behind the Lambaster cage. They finally reach the giant door leading to the underground arena and walk straight toward the ring. Elsewhere, the same thugs he flattened earlier are kneeling in front of their boss, reporting in. They explain that some punk kid wiped the floor with them. At first, the leader laughs, thinking they're joking, but they double down. This kid isn't normal. They swear it happened just outside the city gates. Now the boss is paying attention. They tell him the kid checked into the Lambaster cage and even booked a VIP room, so they couldn't touch him anymore. That's why they came to report instead. He asks if the kid's from any noble family. They shrug. No idea. One of them pleads, calling out for help and referring to the man in charge as Mr. Gunther. Gunther raises an eyebrow, intrigued. He says he's heading to the cage himself to see what kind of kid causes this kind of mess. Back in the underground arena, a fight is already going down. Linda Weasley stands victorious, having just finished off another opponent. He watches silently from the shadows. The demon now sees exactly what's wrong with this place. These brutal underground matches are what dragged the city into chaos. That's why he's here. If he can't approach Linda Mihaloff directly, then he'll flip the script and make her come to him. Security around the ring spots him and walks up, warning that this isn't a playground. Perfect timing. He throws down, takes one out, then another, then the rest. When it's over, he dusts himself off and asks flatly where he can register, not as a spectator, as a fighter. The energy in the arena turns wild as the crowd catches sight of a kid, Cyan, stepping into the ring to square off against Zarbark. Laughter mixes with disbelief, the audience buzzing, hyped that someone actually greenlit a child to fight. Most assume it'll be a total wipeout. The brute's no joke, a walking boulder, half human, half ogre by the looks of him. He casually raises one thick finger to squash the kid like a bug. Cyan launches off the ground, lands right on it, and snaps the finger in half. Then he drives his fist straight into the giant's face, shattering his nose and caving in part of his skull. Zarbark crashes to the floor, dropping to his knees after just one hit. For a few seconds, the crowd doesn't make a sound, frozen by the fact that a literal child just demolished him. Then the silence bursts. Cheers erupt. They chant his alias over and over, Lamai Simon. Karam leans in and asks what name he gave them. He says he can't exactly go around dropping his real one, not with noble blood and a duke for a father. She points out that his face is out in the open, so hiding his name is kind of pointless. He assures her that's covered too. He's got an enchantment ring. Nothing to worry about. She catches on quick. That means Lord Fogg's power is backing him. He breaks it down. Unless someone directly interacts with him, they can't recognize who he really is. Even if they do, their memory won't hold onto his face. That's the spell at work, erasing all trace of his identity. From the shadows, Gunther watches everything unfold. But instead of being pissed, his curiosity only deepens. He's locked in, fascinated by the way this kid moves. Controlled, precise, deadly. A smile creeps across his face. In that moment, he makes a decision. He wants to fight him. Cyan's his next target, and he won't stop until they face off in that cage. Back at the hotel lobby, a tall blonde storms in. Delkia, head of the red light district. Her voice cuts through the air as she demands to see Cyan, accusing him of stirring up chaos in the underground matches. Lisa denies everything, claiming she has no clue what the woman's talking about, then firmly tells her to leave. Delkia doesn't back down, threatening violence and saying the incident happened on Lisa's turf, so she's not stepping aside. The hotel owner stands her ground, not about to let anyone cause trouble in her building. Tension spikes as the intruder's crew starts shifting, waiting on her signal to attack. Lisa's caught, torn between protecting Cyan or staying neutral. Then, out of nowhere, he strolls in like nothing's happening. Cool as ever, he casually asks if someone's been looking for him. The room goes still. No one even noticed he was there. He walks straight to Delkia, calmly suggesting they talk directly instead of bothering hotel staff. She turns to face him, and instantly her expression changes. It hits her like a drug. For a second, the world drops away. All she sees is him. She steps closer, takes his hand like it's the most natural thing in the world, and softly asks his name. He answers with a fake one, Lamai Simon. She swoons, completely under, saying it's a bold name for a face like his. Lisa watches from the side, clearly disturbed, muttering a warning to him not to go anywhere near Delkia. He shrugs it off, telling her he's got it handled. The blonde slips him a business card, voice dipping to a flirt-heavy tone. She says she'd like a deeper conversation next time, somewhere private. The card's for her personal lounge in the room of pleasures, and she hints at a free service. The offer is as clear as it is shameless. With that, she struts out of the hotel, still under his spell. Once she's gone, Lisa immediately scolds him. She's already heard he stepped into the ring and won. Word travels fast around here. He tries to make an exit, but she blocks him, warning him not to even think about going to the room of pleasures. He reassures her, those kinds of places aren't his thing. After he leaves, another woman appears out of nowhere across the lobby. Her presence sucks the air out of the room. It's Linz Mihaloff, the owner of the Lambester cage. Lisa's eyes widen. She didn't notice her arrive. Linz asks if Delkia backed off on her own. Lisa fumbles for an answer, saying she treats Cyan like any other high-tier guest. The cage owner narrows her eyes, saying she heard Lisa even gave him advice. The hotel owner jumps to defend herself, insisting it wasn't personal. He's just a kid. Then Gunther steps in, laughing under his breath. He mocks Lisa for calling him a kid. Clearly, she has no idea who she's dealing with. Linz swings her gaze to the fighter, eyes sharp and deadly, and demands to know why he showed up solo in her domain. He brushes it off, strolling in further and claiming the place feels ancient, saying it could use a serious update. She fires back, accusing him of being summoned. He confirms it, saying she's the one who called him to arrange a match for him. Lisa cuts in, reminding them both that he got kicked out years ago. Linz looks at him and asks who he plans to fight. He steps forward without hesitation. He wants Lamai Simon. Gunther's dead serious. He's ready to take on the kid, and he pitches the fight as a huge payday. Meanwhile, back in her velvet-cloaked hideout, Delkia's in meltdown mode. She's pacing, yelling, something's wrong. Her attendants are growing nervous. One whispers that she meant to seduce Cyan, but now she's the one completely undone. The script's been flipped badly. Everyone in the room can tell she's obsessed now. She'll stop at nothing to get him back. Inside, she's been sitting at her desk for hours, trying to sketch his face over and over. But every time she gets close, her mind fogs. She just can't remember what he looked like. She knows she saw him. His features were right there, but they vanish the second she tries to picture them. Frustration turns to desperation. She whispers his name, his fake name, again and again like a prayer. Lamai Simon. To her, he's already hers, whether he knows it or not. Booze, women, and high-stakes games. The red light districts of Lambasa are notorious for indulging every vice imaginable. Cyan never willingly sets foot in a place like that. He expects trouble, but Delkia proves even more unpredictable than he anticipates. Her reputation for questionable appetites has always circulated in whispers, but he doesn't have time to dig into that now. He needs to investigate other regions for any trace of Linza. As he cuts through a crowded alleyway, he bumps into a young girl and accidentally knocks her off her feet. She drops what she's carrying and immediately bows her head, apologizing in a panic. He blinks, confused, thinking she is saying sorry when he's the one who ran into her. Crouching down, he helps her gather her things, a bundle of cigarette packs scattered across the dirt, and asks if she is hurt. She shakes her head, still bent in a respectful bow, saying she's fine and thanks him for his mercy. He hands her the scattered packs, eyes narrowing, and wonders if she's selling them. She nods and says they're specialty smokes from the Grew Merchants Union, even offering to sell him one. He declines since he doesn't smoke, and he doesn't recall ever hearing of any Grew merchants. Before she leaves, he asks where she plans to sell the rest. She answers honestly that she'll be in the alleyways just west of the red light sector, and if she's lucky, she'll sell out before sunrise and be able to go home. Realizing she can't go back until the entire batch is sold, he pulls out a gold coin and flips it to her, saying he'll take the whole lot, then adds a second coin just for her. A huge grin breaks across her face as she clutches the coins tightly and runs off, calling out her thanks and promising never to forget his kindness. From behind, Karam shows up and smirks, asking if he's sure he isn't a charity foundation disguised as an assassin. He doesn't respond, instead watching where the girl went and noting that she's heading toward the dump zone, saying they need to follow her. They slip through the alley just in time to spot her cornered by 3 thugs, the same ones he'd already beaten up near the city gate. They yell at her, calling her a liar and threatening to teach her a lesson. She's on the ground, begging for her life, insisting she didn't steal from them. Before any of them can move, he appears behind them like a shadow, his voice cutting and cold as he points out that she's asking them to believe her, so they should just stop. The men freeze, recognizing the voice of the kid who flattened them earlier. He steps closer, mocking them for stealing from kids. One tries to play it tough, but the fear in his eyes gives him away. In seconds, he sweeps his legs out, stomps one into the dirt, and disables the other 2 with brutal efficiency. On the ground and whimpering, one asks why he's doing this, and he grabs him by the leg, saying he likes short bursts of torture, especially for creeps like them, before snapping the man's leg. The scream echoes down the alley. He turns back to the girl and gently hands her the coins the thugs dropped, telling her they won't bother her again and to be more careful next time. Before she can thank him, a slow clap breaks through the silence as Gunther steps out from the shadows, grinning and calling it a performance. He turns, tense, wondering if the guy knows him, thinking he shouldn't be recognizable under the spell cloaking his identity. Gunther laughs, saying there's only one guy who fights like that, calling him Lamai Simon, and introducing himself as Gunther Lictus, the one who controls this corner of the city. Seeing perfect timing for questions, he figures Gunther may have answers. The man glances at his broken henchman, scoffs, and mutters that they're trash before casually killing one on the spot without hesitation or regret. The girl recoils in terror, and Cyan flinches, saying it wasn't necessary. Gunther shrugs, wiping blood from his fingers, saying he got carried away and just came back from chatting with Linz and Nihilov to set up a match. The name catches his attention, and without warning he throws a punch. Gunther blocks it, smiling wider. Cyan tightens his stance, feeling the resistance in the block, realizing this guy isn't just showboating. Gunther's fist comes flying back. He dodges by inches, and the ground behind him explodes from the force. Gunther leaps forward again, pumped full of adrenaline, saying his opponent is even better than he thought. He isn't fighting for dominance, he's fighting for fun, completely unhinged. Cyan tries to counter but gets caught, the heavy punch slamming into him and launching him into the dirt. Far away, in the pocket realm of the god of black fog, Sarika meditates in silence with thick clouds swirling around her. Uru's voice echoes nearby, noting the task she gave Tyann, but pointing out the name on the mission doesn't show up on the altar. His tone is curious, not angry, saying he isn't here to scold her but that she's pulled Cyan into something personal. She opens her eyes slowly and smiles, admitting Linz and Nihilov is a threat they'll eventually have to erase and calling the mission a test. Uru questions her, and she confirms it's to see if Tyann is worthy of inheriting what they've built, or if he'll fall down the same path as Linza. Uru seems intrigued. Back in the alley, Cyan peels himself off the ground after taking Gunther's full force and surviving. Gunther is impressed, saying his opponent is still standing and grinning wider as his thirst for battle grows, urging them to keep going. He slams a series of heavy blows into Gunther, each one packing more force than the last. The impact sends the man skidding backward again and again, barely able to hold his ground. Mid-combat, Cyan demands to know where Linz and Nihilov is, but the fighter deflects the question, clearly uninterested in discussing her right now. Trying to regain control, he reinforces his arm and launches a strike, but it's sidestepped effortlessly. In that brief exchange, Cyan catches something troubling. His attacks aren't leaving a mark. That arm is tanking the hits, and he's charging forward without even slowing down, ripping through anything in front of him. Cyan realizes he misjudged the guy. Gunther isn't just strong, he's something else entirely. He leaps high, using elevation to create distance, and scanning the man's movements from above. Before either can land the next blow, a voice cuts through the chaos. Lisa's arrived. She tells them both to stand down. Cyan brushes her off, stating it's personal, and she should stay out of it. She ignores him and tells Gunther to back off, saying he's fighting someone marked as a VIP guest. He tries to defend himself, claiming Cyan started it, but she isn't in the mood to entertain excuses. The two of them bicker like siblings caught fighting in the living room while Cyan stays silent, just watching them go back and forth. Eventually, Gunther gives in and walks away, but not without tossing a reminder that he hasn't forgotten about their fight. Once he's gone, Lisa turns to check if Cyan's okay. His expression says enough. He's far from pleased. She immediately apologizes for showing up late and for letting things spiral like that. He studies her for a second, then points out that she looks like someone about to ask for a favor. She's caught off guard, but he already knows. Gunther told him she arranged this fight behind the scenes, reaching out to the owner of the venue to make it happen. Cyan reassures her he doesn't mind fighting, but he wants something in return. The little girl from earlier should be given a job at the hotel. The news of the upcoming fight spreads fast, rumors flying as everyone wants to know how it'll go down. Over the next several days, he drifts around the area, occasionally stepping into a fight. He picks up some intel about the Lambaster cage. Turns out it's not lawless. There are ground rules, no weapons, stop if the opponent gives up, and the most important one, no killing allowed. That rule's about to be thrown out. Match day arrives, and a commentator runs down the details. Both Cyan and Gunther are informed there are no rules for this fight, the change made by personal request of the owner. Cyan blinks. This is the first he's hearing about it. Gunther, meanwhile, looks like a kid unwrapping a birthday present. He's practically vibrating with excitement. Cyan doesn't even get a chance to ask questions before the bell rings. The match begins, the crowd roaring louder with each passing second, the arena buzzing with tension. From a hidden spot in the shadows, Linz and Nihilov watches silently, waiting to see what Cyan is really capable of. Gunther calls out mocking, saying if Cyan's scared, he can always pick up a weapon. Cyan doesn't bother replying. He doesn't need a blade to win. He shifts into a stance, surrounding himself with black fog magic. This is where the real fight begins. Gunther grins, finally facing a real opponent. Without shame, he confesses that Killing humans gives him a rush. That's why he was permanently banned from the cage. Cyan hears him but doesn't flinch. Gunther lunges, throwing a clean punch toward his face, but misses completely. Cyan grabs his arm, moves like a shadow, then, without hesitation, slices it clean off. Gunther screams as his right side spurts blood, the severed arm gone in one cut. Cyan gives a quiet warning. If he moves too much, the black fog will finish the job. The silence says it all. He knows it's over. Cyan wins. The arena erupts, the crowd chanting his name, electrified by what they just saw.